Off we go. Here's the spider. Looks like another lifetime close on this one coming. We are very close to the intraday lifetime high set a couple of days ago. On the ES, I think we're probably there, and we're definitely made a record on the NQ today. So the spider, the same shtick as yesterday and a lot of days that start off weak, close strong. It's like a carbon copy of yesterday. We bottomed around the opening bell and climbed ever since. So everything's green at the moment, although the RTY is still down a little bit. So there's the spider. The IWM, just mentioned the small caps. This is down, and I've been stressing the weakness of small caps lately. You can see here, and let's just change this to a candlestick to make it a little more clear. On the whole, the past few weeks have been pretty much a daily instance of a lower low and a lower high. It's nothing big, it's nothing dramatic, it's nothing that doesn't make any headlines, but it is happening because we peaked on this one, and this is way below lifetime highs, back on the 15th of May. And just slowly have been working our way lower. And I think this still looks solid as long as it doesn't burst above the highs we saw on Friday, this dashed red line that I've drawn right there. Yeah, that's the small caps. The diamonds, weirdly, are down a little bit. And as I said yesterday, I think the key on this one is for them to hold below their peak here also on Friday. This will all be clear in 24 hours. Because we're weeks and weeks away. We're pretty much a month away from earnings season even beginning. There's no doubt tomorrow morning is the biggest one-two punch of the whole month and one of the biggest days of the whole summer with respect to financial data. IYT is down pretty hard, and I've also made mention frequently about the beautiful pattern. This is the third day in a row I think I've mentioned IYT. Keep in mind, record highs on the EQ, on the ES today, record highs on the NQ, record highs on a lot of major stocks like Apple, and yet there's the transports weak again. Anything that can be faced in the week, anything could be weak in the face of this market has got something going on. And I'm pleased to say the 8 positions I've got, every single one isn't just down. Almost all of them are down 1 to 2%. Again, I say on a day like this, that's cool. That is really cool. I want to see red when everything else is green. But IYT, as long as it stays below this dashed line, things look really solid there. And should the day come that we can cross below this green line here, we will have a completed top on the transports. And now, a few days ago, I had speculated that outside the US was going to be particularly vulnerable. As I noted with some chagrin, like with EFA, for example, I wish it was better to trade. The options on it are just, sometimes they're like a nickel wide, and sometimes it's like bid-ask 2.40 times 4.90. It's like, what? You know, it's just these preposterous spreads, absolutely untradeable. So I've kind of stopped, and it's a real shame because EFA itself is pretty cool. We'll get to that in a moment. This is EEM, the emerging markets, down over 1%. The one I'm kind of fixated on is EFA. This is the global equities outside of North America. We've been following this wedge going up and up and up. We peaked on this 4 days ago. That would be last Thursday, I guess. We fell, and then we really fell today, down 2.75%, even though it's off the lows today. But like I say, you know, the options just stink, so I don't bother anymore. And one item we used to talk about with some regularity, Brazil is also doing some cool things to the downside, down about 2 2/3% EWZ. That's probably about it for now. This is hammered pretty hard, but this has been really executing a series of strong lower lows and lower highs for the entire year. That's amazing if you think about what the US has been doing. So ever since December 27, which feels like about 19 years ago, this has been just like lower high, lower high, lower high, lower low, lower low, lower low, down, down, down she goes. Okay, so we live in a post-split world on NVIDIA. Weirdly, even though everything else is green, NVIDIA's actually red. It's only down a little bitty bit. It's, you know, like 1.08%, but for NVIDIA, that's kind of a big deal. And as I've been saying, this red line is very important. This goes back for years, and we tagged it almost perfectly back on the 6th in anticipation of this exercise in which x divided by 10 happens. Since then, in fact, for the past 5 trading days, we've been pretty much lingering at around 120. Just a few pennies up, a few pennies down, just kind of stuck as people have digested the awesome breakthrough that dividing by 10 has yielded us. So there we are with NVIDIA, just kind of hanging out, down a little bit. ARM ain't doing that though. ARM's up strong. We bottomed on this on the 22nd, around about $90. We're up to around $144 now, and getting close to lifetime highs. Now, I wanted to mention a couple of, yesterday I talked about these corporate events. I talked about the Apple Worldwide Developer Conference, which was yesterday, and whose fruits are apparently being born today. Thursday, the Tesla shareholders meeting, which I mentioned during the show yesterday. I wasn't sure like when we'd find out the results. I glanced, it seems like it's gonna be live. Like during the meeting, it's gonna be like, the vote is blah. And I'm also pretty certain that it's after hours. So Tesla could have some action post Thursday's close. And obviously rolling into to Friday, whether or not Elon gets his literally tens of billions of dollars pay package or not. And interestingly, and I'm not sure why, and most of you probably don't follow Elon's tweets quite as closely as I do, but he had a tantrum yesterday about the Apple's intelligence, their AI offerings, and declared the Apple products wouldn't be allowed in any of his buildings. So I suppose SpaceX, XAI, Tesla, Boring Company, I've lost track of what, Neuralink, all his organizations. Oh, and Twitter. Yeah, that Apple products would be banned, which is pretty sweeping, because I'm pretty sure the developers all use Macintosh. They probably almost all of them have iPhones, iPads, etc. So that's quite the declaration. The Apple stock doesn't seem to be too worried about that assertion, because as I said, it's at a lifetime high. It's up over 6%. Just burst. It had been just in this quagmire for years, and then it just went ripping above it today, like so. Tesla ain't ripping. Tesla, and I don't know if it was Elon's remark or probably more to do with the fear about Thursday, but even though we had spent weeks just kind of clinging to that fib line, finally today, zoop, down we go, and we're between the two fibs now. So we're kind of range bound at this point. So Apple's up strong, Tesla's down pretty bad, 2.22%. Filter all that out though, the cubes are still up, and the cubes are at a record high price, about 0.5%, like so. And as you can see, ever since April 22, pretty much every bar is green. There are just precious few exceptions. But yeah, lifetime high on the cubes there. Our old buddy Knee finally going down, next era. I'd stopped talking about this for a while because on the heels of this magnificent top, it did fall tremendously, rebounded, tagged the neckline nicely, started to fall, and nope, nothing doing, I'm gonna go up now, and it went blasting higher. And the one thing we can say is that at least this blue line did its job. It held the price back. It got very close to that resistance about 6-7 trading days ago, and then now it's slipping hard. So this is down almost 6%, and I would say there's plenty of opportunity for more weakness until we approach that green trend line. Also, Unity, lifetime low, and I started to keep trotting this out, but it's just a really interesting example, just the important lesson I think there is about lifetime highs and lifetime lows. They tend to feed on themselves, and Apple will probably, unless something big happens tomorrow, Apple will probably keep slipping higher because it's in, every single Apple shareholder is profitable now, no matter how bad a price it was. They're absolutely profitable, guaranteed, 100% of them. Unity, just the opposite. And so we're down about 1.5% to a lifetime low on U. I mentioned natural gas in passing yesterday, Boyle in particular. Look at this. What's Boyle up to? It's up big, about 13%. It's leverage, so technical analysis doesn't quite mean as much, but we'll just put that down there as a marker for what its own recent high was. Let me thumb through quickly the 8 positions I talked about. Same disclaimer, or same explanation. These are all bearish. They're all based upon being long puts, almost without exception, 5, 6, 7 months down the road. AMD, this is about my only tech item here. It's down 1.25%. That is great on a day like this for it to be doing anything of the sort. So that's AMD. And I also like, I'm not a fundamental trader, but I do like the fact that its PE is like 300. That's pretty spiffy. Comerica, CMA, slipping nicely. It's a bit of a hammer formation here. That's a little concerning, but you know what? It did yesterday too, and it didn't matter. This broke through this important support level, so that's progress. ITB, this was a new idea offered yesterday, and it's doing great. Seemed to have peaked yesterday. Let me just tidy this up a little bit. Let's just take this line here. Strictly speaking, that gap is a good stop loss. Let's be more conservative. Let's drag it down to yesterday's high, like so. We'll make that the new stop loss. But ITB down about 1.25%. Keycore also down more than 1%, slipping below this dashed line, completing that top. Royal Caribbean finally down a little bit, 1.4%, working its way lower. Past 5 trading days, been kind of inching down little by little. Starbucks, I'm just crazy about. It's doing great. Another good day for the Starbucks short, down 2%. So yay. And then a couple of ETFs also got XLE. This is a new one. This is, and I said almost without exception, this is the one exception. These are July puts. And the stop on this one is quite tight, right there, 91.34 on XLE. And then XLU, which has got to be at least partly benefiting from NEE's drop. This one's down about 0.8%. Cute little top going on there. It really needs to slip below yesterday's low to complete that top, and the dash line there is the stop on that one. And we'll just end with something totally different from all of these, which is Bitcoin down over $2,300. And I offer this to really address the animal spirits, because I know Bitcoin's not an equity and it should be in a whole different universe, but it's not. It is a major psychic influence on the whole kind of zeitgeist of investor spirits, animal spirits, whatever you might want to call them. And it is what would really extend and heighten excitement around all assets would be bursting yet again to another lifetime high above that 73,750 level. And it's tried. It finished this pattern, started to lift, and drifted, and today sinking into that bullish pattern, kind of really doing some spoilage to it. So if this thing doesn't go ripping higher tomorrow, and it could, based on those reports, this is a bit of a yellow flag for assets in general that it's performing in this fashion, especially since we're post-halving now, which is supposed to be quite the big deal.